You see the word denied. Your stomach drops. Maybe you read one more paragraph, feel the frustration rise, and close the letter. Before you do that, look for one section, favorable findings. It may tell you exactly what VA has already acknowledged, even in a decision that did not grant the benefit.
Here is the idea I want you to carry through this entire episode. Favorable findings are not a finish line. They are a map. They can show you which facts VA recognized and which question the decision still leaves open.
Welcome to the Veteran Benefits Reset Podcast. I'm Cameron Burrell, a U.S. Army veteran and founder of VetBiz Media. This is where we break down the VA disability benefits process in plain language, one responsible step at a time.
Today's episode is educational only. It is not legal or medical advice, and it is not a review of anyone's individual claim. Your records, timing, evidence, and circumstances are your own. Verify current information through official VA resources and consider speaking with a VA-accredited veteran service organization, claims agent, or attorney when appropriate.
So, what is a favorable finding? In plain language, it is a fact or conclusion that VA identifies as favorable to the claimant in the decision. The wording can vary. It might acknowledge a current diagnosis. It might acknowledge an event, injury, or disease during service. It might recognize another fact relevant to the issue being decided. But one acknowledged fact is not the same as the entire claim being established. A disability claim can involve several separate questions. Is there a current condition? Did something qualifying happen during service? Is there a relationship between the current condition and service? If service connection is established, what rating rules apply to the level of impairment? A favorable finding may answer one of those questions while leaving another open. VA might acknowledge a diagnosis and still say the evidence does not establish a relationship to service. Or VA might acknowledge an event during service while reaching a different conclusion about the current condition. That distinction matters. And this is where the map idea helps. A favorable finding is not automatically an award, a service-connected disability, a particular rating, a compensation amount, or a promise about a future review. It also does not replace medical evidence when medical evidence is relevant. It tells you what part of the picture VA says it recognized. Now, do not read that paragraph by itself. Put your finger on the first page and ask one question. What did VA actually decide today? Not what you hoped the letter would decide. What issue is printed on the page? A letter may address more than one issue. One condition could be granted, another denied, and another deferred for additional development. Write down each issue separately. Do not let the result of one issue blur the result of another.
Next, find the evidence list. What records does the letter say VA considered? Service treatment records, military personnel records, private medical records, VA treatment records, examination reports, or lay statements. Compare that list with what you expected to see. If something seems missing, write it as a question. Do not jump straight to a conclusion.
Then locate the favorable findings and read every sentence slowly. Ask, what fact is being acknowledged? A diagnosis? An event? A record? Something else? Rewrite that sentence in your own words, but keep the original letter beside you. Your summary is a tool for understanding. The original wording remains important. After that, read the reasons for the decision. This is where the letter explains why the benefit was granted, denied, continued, or assigned at a particular level. Look for the specific unresolved question. Was VA discussing a medical opinion, a missing element, conflicting records, the weight given to different evidence?
Finally, read the instructions about available review options and dates. The applicable lane, deadline, and evidence requirements depend on the situation, and rules and procedures can change. Do not rely on an old letter, a social media post, or something a friend heard years ago. Check current official information and ask an accredited professional about your circumstances.
Let's make this concrete with a fictional example. This is not a real case, and it is not a prediction. We'll call the veteran Jordan. Jordan claims a knee condition and submits service records documenting a knee injury during training. Jordan also submits current medical records showing a knee diagnosis.
Imagine the fictional decision uses language like this. A current diagnosis of right knee osteoarthritis is established. Then it says, the evidence shows an in-service knee injury. Those are two favorable findings. In plain English, VA is acknowledging the current diagnosis and the documented event.
A few lines later, the same fictional letter might say, the evidence does not establish a link between the current condition and service. The overall claim is denied in that decision. Jordan now has 3 lines to sort, not one giant yes or no answer.
A current diagnosis was acknowledged. A knee injury during service was acknowledged. The relationship between the two was not established in that decision. That is the map. It does not tell Jordan what a future review will decide, but it shows where the decision drew its favorable and unfavorable conclusions.
Notice what we are not doing. We are not deciding which review option Jordan should use. We are not saying what evidence would guarantee a different result. We are not assuming that every knee claim follows the same path. We are simply reading the letter carefully before having a responsible conversation about it.
Here is a simple worksheet you can build from that example. Draw 3 columns on paper or create 3 headings in a document. The first says, acknowledged facts. The second says, reasons for the decision. The third says, questions for an accredited representative.
For Jordan, the first column might say, current knee diagnosis acknowledged, knee injury during training documented. Those are narrow statements. They do not add a conclusion the letter did not make.
The second column might say, the decision did not establish a relationship between the current knee condition and the in-service injury. It might also note which examination, opinion, or records the reasons section discussed. Keep this column tied to the letter. You are summarizing, not rewriting the decision in your favor or against yourself.
The third column could include questions such as, what exactly did VA acknowledge? Which element did VA say was not established? What evidence did the decision rely on? What review options are described in this letter? Is there a date I need to calendar? What current information should I verify before taking action?
Before that conversation, preserve the complete decision letter. Save every page digitally if you can. Keep the evidence list, examination reports, submission confirmations, and related correspondence together. Put dates in the file names or on a simple timeline. Organization will not guarantee an outcome, but it can make the facts easier to discuss.
When you speak with a VA-accredited VSO, claims agent, or attorney, bring the full letter, not just the page containing favorable findings. Ask the representative to help you understand the decision as a whole. Which facts appear acknowledged? Which issue remains disputed? What instructions and dates are in the letter? What current rules should be checked?
Here's the part I do not want anyone to rush. There is no universal best review path. The appropriate option can depend on the decision, the evidence, the timing, and the rules in effect. A general podcast cannot choose that path for your individual situation. Education comes before action. Before the next episode, spend 10 minutes with your decision letter. Write 2 entries under acknowledged facts. Write 1 sentence under reasons for the decision. Then write 3 questions for an accredited representative and circle any date the letter tells you to watch. That is a small action, but it changes a confusing letter into an organized conversation. Let's bring it back to the main point. Favorable findings can show you what VA has already acknowledged. They do not automatically establish every requirement for service connection. They do not create a rating or compensation amount. They do not replace relevant evidence, and they do not guarantee a future review outcome. Read the whole letter. Separate the acknowledged facts from the reasons for the decision. Verify the current instructions and dates. Then take your questions to an accredited resource when appropriate. Favorable findings are not a finish line. They are a map, and a careful reader uses a map before choosing the next responsible step.
Thanks for listening to the Veteran Benefits Reset podcast. I hope this episode helped you look at a VA decision letter with a little more patience and a little less uncertainty. Remember, this podcast is an independent educational resource. It is not legal or medical advice, and it does not replace guidance from an accredited professional.
If this episode helped, follow the podcast, leave a review, and share it with another veteran, family member, or caregiver who may be trying to understand a decision letter. Download the free 7-step Veteran Benefits Reset Guide at vetbizmedia.com/veteran7. It can help you organize military, medical, employment, and VA records before your next conversation.
Until next time, remember, your service did not expire. Your story is still worth reviewing. Stay organized, stay informed, and take the next responsible step.